Day 11 and the pain continues. Another gut shot wound. Total $237.13 down. Whew. This is getting bad, and yeah, not a lot to say about it. Let's just have a look, see if there's any trades out there. Euro-Japanese yen pair. The RSI does make it across the 95, also above the moving average though now. Missing out on some of these signals. Same story on the Swiss franc Japanese yen. The yen having an awful day. Here we got the RSI up at 99.69, so close to 100. Signal almost there on the pound Aussie dollar. If we see the RSI come below 5, currently at 5.37. Might be an entry signal in the next couple of days. Hopefully if we get out of this other Aussie dollar trade. Pound CAD really oversold 1.96, but price still below the average. Aussie dollar yen, it's another one that's gone to the overbought territory against the yen. It's been such a sell-off that the price has once again shifted above the average, avoiding our signal. Not that we could take it anyway because, well, this Aussie dollar trade right here is still open. And finally, the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, just the same. What a whirlwind of a day for the yen. But it does mean no more signals for us. That kind of day that the yen had, we could really do for the Aussie dollar having that kind of day. Maybe. Let's find out tomorrow. Day 12, still in the trade. Let's try and find greener pastures. Not that these pastures aren't green. Greener for us. Better for us. Nearing in on the Australian dollar, US dollar pair. 93.42 on the RSI. If we see a green day tomorrow, should be able to get in. The US dollar still strengthening against the Japanese yen. If you tried to get in this overbought signal, it's not going well for you. Same with the pound yen. Another red day on the euro Canadian dollar. Never get tired of seeing them. Signal comes on the pound Australian dollar. But because we're already in this Australian dollar trade, we can't take it. We'd be going in favor of the pound against the Aussie dollar. We're already against the Aussie dollar. Let's not go mad with our risk. Pound CAD stays overbought. RSI down as far as 1.25. So that does mean no new signals for us again. We've only had them come on the Aussie dollar, but because we've been stuck in on this one, we haven't been able to take any others. That's the way it goes. We'll come back in 24 hours time to see what's next. Day 13 on the RSI-2. Price did come red a little bit today for our trade. Not enough to get below the moving average. Well, the low is enough to get beneath there, but not the close. It has receded since that low, which means we are still in the trade around about $250 down and paying for the pleasure through the swap as well. See if we've got any other trades out there. And there is a signal on the Australian dollar, US dollar pair. RSI in overbought territory with price under the moving average. Can't take this one because we're already in the Aussie dollar trade. But we will keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Nearing in on a sell signal on the pound US dollar. If we see another day of green, should come. RSI below 5 again on the US dollar CAD. Same signal as before. We can't take it because price is just below the moving average. So we miss out on that one. If you had taken the previous signal with a buy trade here, you'd still be in it right now with a little bit of a loss. US dollar Swiss franc, big red candle today. If we see another one of those, RSI could get beneath 5. Get us in with a buy signal mayhaps. Another green day on the New Zealand US dollar pair. Could see a signal come here to the sell side. Would have proved mediocre on back testing this one right here. And you'd probably cut it down here across the moving average for about 15 pips in your favor. Pretty small win, but it would have been a win nonetheless. Euro CAD finally comes green. Still, this would be a damaging run for you if you'd taken a buy signal on one of these candles when it crossed through 5. If you were taking a sell trade from this Canadian dollar going into overbought territory, that's the type of trade you're after with this strategy. You'd have made about 42 pips there as it whipsaws back today. Couldn't have taken that signal because of the filter, but that is really a prime example of what you're after with these trades. Maybe we'll see it one day. No actual entry signals for us today though. Let's see if they come tomorrow. Day 14 and we can finally close this trade, our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. It is now beneath the 5-period moving average. And we are thankful that it made quite a move below there rather than just limping up to about here. So we can manually close that one off for a loss of $158.63. Could have been a lot worse. I think at the peak we were around about $260 down. So a blessing in the end. And this was the third time that the RSI went into the overbought territory on this uptrend. We got in at the first one and you can see exactly how much money we lost. If you'd been in on the second overbought signal, well, you wouldn't have lost too much, just a bit down. but it was the third overbought signal up here that would have got you the gains. That's your ideal signal. You'd net about 68, 69 pips there. What could have been, what could have been. That trade is now done. Let's see if we've got any other entries out on the chart. Might have a new one on the Aussie dollar now, maybe. And sure enough, we do have a signal on the Aussie dollar, US dollar. We might be in a bit of luck because the signal did come yesterday originally. It's had a green day though, so now we might be getting in at a better position. It's nearer to this resistance level, and after a strong run, we might see a retracement. So at the moment, we are eyeing up a sell trade on the Aussie dollar, US dollar this time. Let's get back in there, but we'll first check if there's any other trade options for us. Pound US dollar getting close as well. If it had finished at this high right up there, that could have been a signal. Great British Pound Japanese Yen pair, RSI up at 99.25. We're seeing this on a lot of currency pairs. The yen has had another weak day, following a weak period in general for it. Every other major currency pair out there gaining against the yen right now. We're getting a genuine signal here out of the New Zealand dollar US dollar pair. Selling up to sell off, it's moved to the overbought territory. Price still below the moving average. So that's the New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar, both giving us short signals against the US dollar. We can only pick one since they both got the US dollar in them. Let's first check, make sure there's no others out there. Back to the norm here for the Euro Canadian dollar after a day's respite. New lows. Look at how much the New Zealand dollar gained against the yen today. Big move, the Japanese yen getting crushed. Pound New Zealand dollar almost came with a signal. RSI 3.68 in that oversold territory, but it has zipped all the way beneath the moving average on that move. No signal, no other trade entry options for us. So we've got our two competitors lined up against one another. Is it going to be the Aussie dollar US dollar pair or the New Zealand dollar US dollar pair that we're going for? They're both giving an overbought signal, so we're being told to sell off both of them. That means we want to choose the one which is weaker. We want to give ourselves the highest chance possible. So all we're going to do is look back at our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair. This is the one we just lost on. And we can see we're only going to go on today's candle. That's our decider, and we can see the Australian dollar was weaker today than the New Zealand dollar. That does mean that we would rather sell off the Aussie dollar than the New Zealand dollar. If you're in the same situation though and you decide to use a different way of determining which trade to go in on, that's completely fair enough. This is just the one that we're using at the moment. So let's forget about these charts and we'll zoom in purely on the Australian dollar US dollar pair. And let's grab our average true range indicator so we can measure out our risk. The ATR showing 66.3 pips as a reading. And remember, we are risking 1% of our capital per 1 times ATR value. So you can see on screen how our risk is calculated for the trade. And our risk is measured out at 0.1351 standard lots. That means we are going to round that up to 0.14. And we have ourselves a sell trade. Let's hope this one goes better than our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair. We do need to start winning back some of those losses if we want to see the strategy do well overall. That's it for us though. We're back in. This is nearly as high as the RSI can go, 99.16, almost tilting up to 100. We could see 100 if we get a green day, but we won't know for another 24 hours until we come back to find out. Day 15, and we are going to be keeping our trade open over the weekend. It's not really had a lot of movement today. It did come up some, but not much at all. Only about 15-20 pips before it's back down, almost our entry price again. We are paying on the swap, but that 5-period moving average still chasing price. If we get a couple red candles, there's definitely profit to be had here. For now, the RSI maintains a very high level, 99.25. Nothing for us to do with the trade. Let's see if there's any others out there. Euro US dollar. Let's see a big green push over the next couple of days. Let's get that RSI above 95. Give us a signal. And we are getting it from the pound US dollar. Can't trade it because we're already in on the Australian dollar US dollar pair. Don't want conflicting trades for our US dollar, but this is a sell signal for you. RSI at 97.44, price below the average. We'll try and track what happens with that one. Every currency pair strengthening against the Japanese yen. Here you can see the Australian dollar against it the last few days. Been stuck in overbought territory, but this is nothing particular about the Australian dollar. I mean, we've been in multiple sell trades against that currency pair, but against the yen, it's cruising. Well, you've done good to stay in this trade for another day if you were on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair. We've seen another candle just like yesterday. Still would have been a loss for us, but less of a loss. Here's the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen as well. Look at that climb against the yen. People are not interested at all in the Japanese yen right now. They want out of that currency and they don't care where they go. Euro New Zealand dollar getting into pretty deep oversold territory. Price below the average though, not a signal for us. Pound New Zealand dollar pair. If you'd got in a buy trade yesterday here when it went into oversold territory, you wouldn't be down too much at the moment, but you certainly wouldn't have had the spring that you wanted. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, so close to a signal here. Price comfortably below our 200 period moving average. And the RSI, it looked like it might have been overbought territory, but it's not. The RSI currently reading at 94.1. Almost there. One more green day should see it. But that does mean no new signals for us. We remain in this Australian dollar, US dollar pair. And it will be 72 hours before we're back to check again on how they're doing. But I am optimistic that we will be doing pretty well. This is quite a run we've seen on the Australian dollar over the last few weeks. So have it come back down just like it has against the New Zealand dollar. Since we've finished the trade as well now, we can have a look at how we're doing in the journal. Here we are, it's our beloved journal. 2 trades in over 15 days, one of them still active, and we're hoping that one's going to be able to get some money back for us from the first trade, because as you know, $151.53 lost from the trade. Once you add up the commission, the swaps as well, gets to $162.43 that we've lost. Not our finest performance so far, but plenty of time for it to come back. We'll see if we can get this flipped right around by next week.